Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast. Today is 12/8/2021. I am joined by the inimitable, look that way up, Harvey Freed, the inimitable Harvey Freed. Hi, Harv.
Hey, good morning, Harry and Roberto. Good morning to everyone listening.
Yes, also should welcome Roberto to the podcast. Who is Roberto? Roberto Beauchene is our producer director. He is the guy that creates the podcast, and he also coordinates, helps out on our social media, as well as the 97.1 FM Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Program, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, always powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, equal housing lender. 2289 is our NMLS number. So, Harvey, I'm going to say this to you. We're also joined by Mr. John Kolb. Good morning, John Kolb. How are you this morning?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Good. How'd that knee surgery go out? Did they clip the whole meniscus, or was it a partial?
It was a partial meniscus tear, so they clipped it out, cleaned it out, and I'm feeling great. Just
there you go, buddy.
Laying around and icing.
That's it. So I've got to have a lengthy discussion about something today, guys. It's December, right? It's December. We're in Michigan. It's really, really cold out. It's crazy, crazy cold out right now. Market's still hot. Market is going very, very strong. And what are we seeing in southeastern Michigan? I know it's hot around the market, but we're not as sexy here as like they are in Boston or Scottsdale, Phoenix, Scottsdale, or Vegas or California or down in Florida, Harvey Freed. Right now in December, the purchase market in southeastern Michigan is very, very strong. Let me give you two gentlemen. I'll start with you, Harvey. I'm going to give you an example. You know the neighborhood. It's your brother's neighborhood. There are maybe one or two homes that are on the market at this point in time. There's one that's close to a main road. It was redone by a builder. It's sitting there. It's been on the market for 100 and some days. So the reason why it's on the market is because it's near the main road. It's a gorgeous house. It was completely done. But how about this? One house in that neighborhood went up for sale. It didn't even go up for sale. It was a buy-owner transaction. It's on a cul-de-sac. It's about, I'm going to say 3,000 to 3,200 square feet. Harvey Freed, they put it up for sale on Saturday, buy-owner. It already had 6 offers. 5 were all cash offers. And 5 were at either at listed price or asking price or above. 3 were all cash offers. What can I tell you? And then they had to take the house off the market on the middle of the day Sunday because there were just too many offers and too many people wanted to traipse through the house. So what do you think that means for the market, Harvey? I mean, it's going on all over the place. I'm just giving you a real life example. What do you think that means?
It means that this inventory shortage is going to continue into 2022. And if you have a home that's in a great school district, that's been remodeled by a builder, it's been dressed up. Sometimes, again, they've been dressed up by flippers, house flippers. You got to make sure that they're just not decorating it nicely and hiding some deficiencies in the house. But in these desirable areas here, you're going to see multiple bids. It's going to continue through 2022. Low interest rates still prevail. So low interest rates and lack of inventory. 2022 is going to be the same thing that we've been experiencing here in 2021 and in 2020.
Yeah, John Kolb, I know in your realtor communities with your realtor partners and everything like that, explain to everybody what's going on in this cold but really crazy market here in southeastern Michigan.
I believe it's just more of a lack of good inventory. There's some real crappy houses out there that nobody wants to get into. You can't get into a fixer-upper if you're planning on hiring contractors and getting materials because everything is delayed and short. And so, the lack of good quality homes that kind of move-in ready homes are nil or none. And that's why you're seeing these crazy bidding wars on them. And, it's like Harvey said, it's going to continue until we, figure out these, cargo shortages and materials can get in and contractors come to a realization that they need to pretend that they care about their clients versus just, not calling people back, not doing this, not doing that. And once we get back to a little bit of normalcy, even though the inventory will stay about the same, you'll see some more movement in the market because we have some people that can fix the houses up now.
Yeah, I think it's just a math equation, John, and we talk about it all the time. The why is this. The why in this case, and in any case, really, when there's only two homes for sale in a certain area, and one is much better than the other one, and you have multiple offers being cash offers. And by the way, you're talking about, first of all, in this particular instance, you're looking at $25,000 to $50,000 over asking, and the asking was $100,000 over the value of the neighborhood. So when you have a lot of buyers in a market where there's very few houses and one is standing out, I believe it's just a simple math equation. It's Econ 101, supply and demand, John. Harvey, also, it's a great time to sell, right? It is a great time to sell because if you're a seller in this situation or in any situation that equates to what's going on, the supply of homes is down. You said it, the demand is really based around the school district, right? So if it's demand is down and it's a school district that you want to be in, that's a winning formula, Harvey, for a seller.
Yeah, definitely. But where are they going to go, Harry? That's what we've been asking. Again, these are the best situations for somebody who's retired and they're going to move down south or to their vacation home somewhere across the country. But again, if it's a family that's looking to downsize, we get a lot of empty nesters now looking to stay in the area. The same thing, Harry, these desirable smaller homes, these condominiums that a lot of them would like to move into and downsize, they're few and far between. In any of these desirable subdivisions or complexes or condominium complexes that you go to, it's the same thing. The top units are getting cash offers. Some of the units need a lot of money to fix them up. Other ones, they're gonna get high demand and top dollar for them. $50,000 to $100,000 is not out of the question. We continuously are going to see this moving forward.
That's it. So John, Harvey walks us into the next subject, right? So they're cash offers. And what does a cash offer mean? A cash offer just means somebody doesn't have to wait the 21 days or the 30 days it might take to go ahead and have a closing. So that's all good. And they don't have to run the risk that somebody's not going to get approved for a mortgage, even though when we send out our pre-approvals, which was what we were doing all weekend long for our borrowers who are out shopping for homes and getting these homes and winning these deals because they're pre-approved by Capital Mortgage Funding, they speed up the process but by maybe 2 or 3 weeks, right? So then when somebody buys a house cash, then they're going to go ahead and want to refinance that transaction, which is what we do. John, explain what happens when somebody buys cash and then they come to you to refinance to get the cash back that they put into the transaction.
It depends on how you're getting that cash, right? So there's number one thing is always talk to us before, Harvey and I had this conversation on Monday. Always talk to us before you make that cash purchase, because we can tell you how to make those cash purchases could be able to come back to you so that you can get the money back. You have to make sure that you track where the cash is coming from so that you can, use seasoned funds and you can replenish it as part of a rate and term refinance or even possibly a cash out transaction. We want to always try to keep these as rate and term refinances because you can get the money back right away. With cash out transactions, there's usually a waiting period that you have to wait until you've owned the home for a little while. They're not just going to let you buy a house on day one and day two, take 100% cash out of the home. That's just not how our industry works. So you need to make sure that you're discussing with us. Let us do our research on the best way. Harvey and I had that conversation on Monday. Harvey, did you get any answers to your question on if someone is liquid?
I'm doing it as a rate and term refinance is what it's going to end up being.
Okay.
John, we're replenishing wealthier retired clients that have sold their house for top dollar. They owned it free and clear, and they're taking the proceeds that they sold their house with just last month, and they're going to use those proceeds to buy the house. They were advised that it would make more financial sense for them to keep the money invested and try to make a return between 5 and 10%. And their financial advisors said with these interest rates still well under 4%, there's a great opportunity for them to do the right thing with their money. So yeah, it's like a delayed financing situation where you're closing with your cash, but you're turning around right away and pulling the equity back out to replenish your funds.
So, gentlemen, let's recap that transaction for everybody. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and buy a house for $400,000, and I'm going to pay cash $400,000. Harvey Freed, what's the maximum I can get back?
You're going to buy the unit for 400, Harry?
Yeah, I'm going to lay out $400,000, or I have a client that's laying out $400,000, and I want my money back. How much can I get back?
They can get up to 95% back in most situations. Again, most of the clients are they're a little bit wealthier and they're not going to put themselves in a PMI situation. So generally speaking, Harry, the clients will take out 80% of the purchase price. So in that situation, of course, a $320,000 mortgage on their $400,000 purchase, and we're just going to give them the same money, the same funds that they just liquidated out of their IRAs, or retirement. And again, financial advisors advise these type of clients on what to do with their money. And it does take a team of financial experts to go and take a look at it to make sure they're doing the right thing for each party.
So the most important thing is you still have to track the funds. We're just doing it in reverse, right? So it's really the same transaction. We're just doing it after the fact. We're letting somebody close on the house a little bit earlier. They get their offer accepted. The seller's happy because they don't have to wait. They get to move on. And whatever happens to the buyer after that transaction, they go ahead, they call us up, we go ahead and we put them in a situation where they're going to go down the 4 weeks, 4 weeks after, but they can get 80% of their money back just like they would if they did it up front. Now, this is not a common transaction, John Kolb. This is really for people that have those kind of means, or they're gifting it to their kids to buy a house.
No gifts. No gifts, Harry.
So go ahead and explain that, John. I want to go ahead and gift my daughter and son-in-law the money. And by the way, the other side, the in-laws want to do it too. So you have two sets of parents that want to go ahead and buy Harvey's house for cash and get them in. This is what people need to know. This is why we have to let people know. But I want to gift it, John. I want to gift it.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, Harry, you need to talk to your accountant, because you gifting $200,000 is going to have some tax implications on everybody. Secondly, we are not accountants and we're not pretending to be any on the air. But most of all, if you give a gift to purchase the home for cash, you are not entitled to get that money back as a parent through mortgage lending guidelines right away. You're going to have to wait 6 months or a year, depending upon the scenario. So if you're intending on getting some of that money back and it's not a true gift, then you need to set up a mortgage and a note, and the mortgage needs to be recorded and signed and notarized on the day of closing when you purchase that home with cash. So what I always advise is get a mortgage, a note, make it 0% interest, 0 payments due, and pull the title company notary to the side after the closing and say, hey, will you sign this personal transaction between me and my parents, me and my in-laws, all three, so that it can be done the same day, same time of closing. Then the client has to be the one that walks that mortgage down into the recording office and has the document recorded, pays the $6 per page, whatever it may be. You need to do that the right way if you are intending on getting a certain portion of that money back. If you do it that way, you are able to get the parents can get up to 100% of the purchase price of the home back if that's what they intend. But the kids would still have to purchase or bring money to close on the refinance for that 5% equity that they would need, or 10% equity that they may need. So it's a very detailed transaction. You need to talk to your professionals. We do these all day long. We make sure that we listen. We make sure that we hear what you're saying, and we advise the right way.
So this is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 2289. And everybody out there, I want you to hear that. I want you to hear that, because there's a lot of misinformation out there that as a parent, you can go ahead and just gift your child money, and then you can pay cash for the house so they can get the house. If you're expecting to get that money back right away, you can't get it back on a gift scenario. You have to set up a note with actual terms and a repayment plan that has to be documented, and the documentation has to be authorized, authenticated, witnessed. And by the way, we have to track the funds just like we normally would have to do if we did a mortgage for you on a purchase transaction. So this is why we bring up these subjects in detail on the podcast and on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show, heard every Saturday morning on 97.1 FM from 9 to 10 for the last 23 years. That is a big thing now. It's a big thing where people just say, well, I'm gonna have a cash offer. I'm gonna pay cash. Well, first of all, nobody ever walks into a closing with a bag of cash. That does not happen. So you making a cash offer and saying I'm gonna pay cash, no. What you mean is that we don't need a mortgage up front. That's what you're saying is we don't need a mortgage. So therefore, Mr. and Mrs. Seller will get you to a closing table 2 to 3 weeks in advance. And then whatever arrangements you make on the back end, they have to be done properly if you want your money back right away. And as Harvey explained, as John explained so eloquently, we can do those transactions, and we do those transactions every day. The however is, like anything else, they must be structured properly, and you must go over them before you do them with your mortgage professional. All right, getting back. Speaking of a
Harry,
great time,
Harry, before we jump from that topic, I want to make it real clear that in the event that you purchase a home for cash, that doesn't mean that you just get to skip from step A to step Z. You know, in my opinion, and if this were my transaction, what I would be doing is I would still be doing an inspection. I would, even in that inspection period, I would probably still be ordering my own appraisal. And maybe the appraisal value doesn't have a decision-making decision on the transaction going through or not, but that's why I would have it done in the inspection contingency. I'm also having title work completely done on this home. So sellers out there, if you think a cash offer is going to be closed in 7 days, think again. Buyers need to protect themselves. And sometimes those cash transactions may take 2 or 3 weeks, depending upon what they have to have done. Is there a sewer scope? All this stuff that needs to be done. So if you're buying for cash, don't think that it's just purchase agreement, close the next day. If you do that, you're at risk. And I think that we need to still be advocates for making sure that we're putting buyers, whether we're doing the mortgage or not, putting buyers in a situation that they're protected. Harvey?
Well, the fundamentals are, hey, gentlemen, the fundamentals still have to be in play. You can never skip the fundamentals, right, Harv?
Yeah, 100% here. And I like where John's going with that is many of these families that are buying these cash offers, they've sold like their family home, and now they're going to make these cash offers on usually condominiums, or even it could be in a regular subdivision. And what John's bringing up is this due diligence that they're missing out on. So you do have a few weeks there where you can get your title insurance ordered. There could be nothing more important than making sure that there's no claims or any deficiencies on the title. And then what we're finding out is many of these condominium complexes have awesome amenities. However, they're starting to break down: a pool, a tennis court, a clubhouse, the roads, the roofs. These are all wonderful places to live. However, the wear and tear that we receive here in Michigan or anywhere in the country, you need to make sure that the association has a surplus so that you're not signing your name and entering into something where you immediately find out that there's additional association fees covering this, that they have a shortage, they're going to need a $5,000 assessment. So really this opportunity to buy a place for cash, it really opens our eyes to other things that you have to look out for. And here we were talking about the scammers out there, how they're taking advantage of older people. Well, we see the same thing being taken advantage of on cash buyers. They're not thinking straight. They so aggressively want this place. They're putting aside their due diligence. And again, we talk about title insurance, association, master deed, and bylaws. John, there could be nothing worse, and Harry, nothing worse. You guys are dog lovers. To buy a unit, to buy a home, and then find out that you just bought in a condominium complex, they only allow one dog. You have 2 dogs, and they're both over 50 pounds. So there are lots of things that you have to be aware of yourself when you're buying real estate. And then we're just mentioning a few of them right now.
So Harvey and John, maybe, we talk about it's a great time to sell a house, right? Market's at all-time high, home equity's at an all-time high, but it also just might be a great time to stay in your house as well. Okay. What if you just can't find that new property that checks all the boxes for you? You got a checklist. And let's say you have 8 or 9 items that you want to check the box, but maybe only 5 or 6 get checked. And then you realize, you know what? Equity levels right now are at all-time high. So maybe I'll just take the cash out of my existing home and go ahead and, as Harvey likes to say, maybe I want to redo my bathroom or redo my kitchen or build that office or that recreational space or that pool, Harvey Freed. Maybe it's just better because, the devil is better than the devil you don't know. I've lived it, you're living in your house for 17 years or however long. You're looking in the market, you're driving around, you're saying to yourself, my house is pretty good. I've got all this equity in there. Maybe I'll just take out X amount of dollars and improve my house. What do you say about that, Harv?
Yeah, I love that idea. Cash out refinances here. You threw some numbers out there pre-show, pre-podcast, and the numbers are staggering how much equity families have now. This appreciation due to the COVID over the last now coming up on 3 years has been extraordinary. The amount of equity that families have give them an opportunity not only to remove the mortgage insurance, to pull this equity out, to reestablish your mortgage, drop the term, but to take 20, 30, 60, here we see people taking $150,000 out, completely renovating the homes they're in. And again, getting a new mortgage with today's low interest rates, it's an opportunity, as you said, to fix up the house that you know all about. You'll know what's wrong with it. You know what you can put the money into, and you can make that house exactly the way you need it to. It's great. Real estate agents laugh at us. They go, well, we're only busy when homes are buying and selling. You guys get an opportunity to refinance families, even if they're not buying or selling. And that's true. Financing, using these all-time low interest rates could really improve the equity of your home. And again, make it a place where you want to stay versus getting back out there and trying to buy a house in today's competitive market.
Yeah, well, John he did a complete renovation or a partial renovation. I know a complete one maybe up north, but John, let me go over this with you right now. Okay, over the last 30 years, we've saved hundreds of thousands of families, millions of dollars, not only through purchasing a home, but refinancing their existing home, taking cash out, paying off credit card debt. But let's talk about the renovation process. You've lived in your house for X amount of years, and you have a great living situation, just like a lot of other people do. You decide that you want to sell that house, or you go out on the market, you look at a house. You say to yourself, wait a minute, I've got to go ahead and spend $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 more than I want to, when I can go ahead and I could take $75,000 to $100,000 and redo my kitchen, my bathroom, or whatever improvements I want to make. Add a pool. Okay, redo the patio, the brick pavers, put on the really cool heater thing going on. I mean, what's better? I mean, you tell me, do you want to move? Do you want to go ahead, or do you want to redo the houses you've been in and knowing what you know?
All right. So there's 2 answers there, right? So one, it's location. What location do you want to be in? Are you happy with the neighborhood and the community that you're in? And do you want to have that same attribute for your new home? If you're comfortable with your location, you can't find anything. Why are you going to put yourself through the headache of renovating a new home when you can just do it to the existing home that you already are in? Secondly is, do you really want to go through the headache of doing a complete renovation? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to move? How inconvenienced are you going to be? I always tell the story that when I redid my first floor, I could walk down in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I had to walk down, go out the front door, walk around outside to the side door to use the basement bathroom because the first floor bathroom wasn't available in the middle of winter. Do you know how cold that is at 4 a.m.? It's ridiculous.
Is that better though, John? Isn't that better for some people if they like their location? Or isn't that better to spend that $75,000, maybe $100,000 than $500,000 on a new place?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think it is. But like I said, it's about location. If I had my dream, I would want more land than what I am offered here in Royal Oak. I would want a bungalow. I'm sorry, I would want a ranch instead of a bungalow. And you want to find a ranch with a lot of land, I'm going to have to move to a different area of Royal Oak or outside of Royal Oak to be able to get that. So if that's my end goal is to get something like that, then I got to move. If for, and that's why I've been in my house for 22 years, because I've done my house the way I want to do it. And I don't need those amenities right now. And I like my neighborhood and my community. So I've been living here and just updating this home because you're right. It's an easier path than buying a new home and having to renovate that new home, selling this home, doing the move, and getting to know the neighbors that you don't know yet, and whether you like them or not. So it really comes down to location, location, location.
Yep. So, gentlemen, some geeky mortgage stats, as Harvey said that I would have, because I always do have them.
Always.
How about
always.
this?
We
How
can't
about
stay away
this?
from geeky
Home
stats.
equity has gone up 90% from 2006 and 32% from this time last year. So the insanity that, listen, again, a math equation. Prices are going to continue to go up because there's a lack of inventory and you have more buyers than inventory. So John Kolb, Harvey Freed, that just means 2022, and here we are in December, coming to the year end, crazy hot market in a crazy cold environment. What does that tell you? That tells me that first and second quarter, all the way through selling season, third quarter in Michigan, it's going to be a very crazy market. It's going to be hot. As a reminder, mortgage rates are still very low, relatively speaking, mid threes for a 30-year fix, mid to high twos for a 15-year fix. That's insane. However, they're going to go up. Rates are going to go up. This is a public service announcement for every lender in the United States. We do business all over the country. And listen, we're going to do the public service for you. We're going to tell your clients rates are going up. You better lock in now. Lock in now. Why would you wait to lock in? You just lock it in now and get this done for your family. A couple of reminders. Harvey Freed, let's go over, and we got about 5 more minutes left in the podcast. I've already put Roberto on notice. He wants to wrap this show up. It goes something like this. The remainder of 2021 and 2022, for the foreseeable future, the purchase market is really strong. With the new Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and FHA loan limits increasing, my opinion is this. Again, math equation, you don't have to be a genius to figure it out. We're going to continue to see increase in purchase prices, which means the equity is going to go up. The math is just right. If the supply side of the inventory is down and you have more buyers, it's going to go up. But with the new loan amounts, that means people are going to go ahead and be able to go ahead, and I want to use this word cautiously, they're going to be able to afford, in quotation marks, the increase in the home prices that are going up if rates stay, when I say under 4%. What do you think?
100%. Yeah, I mean, these rates are at all-time lows, Harry. It's just going to be gangbusters. In fact, maybe everyone who already wanted to sell a house has already sold their house. I'm just hoping that more families, more retirees are looking to make that move, because it's harder and harder. And we saw that all throughout 20 and all throughout 2021, which is our reminder right now during the holiday season. There's a short window here because home ownership has become 365 all year round here in Michigan. And that goes through the Midwest. In the Midwest in the olden days, they would take off December, January, really after Thanksgiving, November, December, January, and February, it'd be pretty quiet. Not anymore. Now the small window of opportunity to find what homes are left on the marketplace and be prepared to overpay just a little bit to get their offer accepted.
Yeah. John Kolb,
Yeah,
again, 2022, loan amounts going up. What do you think?
Loan amounts going up. The purchases are going to be, they're going to still be great. It's going to be a great season. I'm excited for it. We're allowed to go up to 647,200 for a loan amount now in some high balance areas, which unfortunately don't include Michigan at this time. I doubt that'll change for 2022 either, but you can go up to almost $1 million. So out of state people listening, your area might warrant a conventional loan all the way up to close to $1 million. It's going to be an exciting time. It's, the FHA limits are going up, which is going to allow people that with, slightly bruised credit or different scenarios to be able to get into a little bit nicer home and stay away from the homes that need to be all the time need to be fixed up. So it's just going to be an exciting time. I'm hoping that we have a strong holiday season. Keep it very steady for the industry, so that we don't have any major slowdowns and then ramp back ups where it affects employment and people getting in and out of the industry. Let's keep it going strong.
Yeah, a little miscellaneous to throw in before we tie up the end of the show and announce the guests who are going to be on our the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 97.1 FM, this Saturday from 9 to 10. But before we get into that, a little miscellaneous, interesting, in my opinion, news tidbit that we talked about. We touched upon all the cash buyers going on. And all the cash buyers for individuals, the government really isn't too concerned about individuals. What they're concerned about in the United States real estate market right now that is so hot, shell companies popping up and shell companies going ahead being formed. So for the purposes of to pay cash. Well, the government is stepping in right now. They're going to scrutinize these companies that want to pay cash and buy these properties because they're concerned about, terrorism, corruption, money laundering, and all those kind of things. I thought that was kind of interesting because we do talk about cash offers, but our cash offers come in from individuals and not shell corporations. I just thought that was kind of interesting that finally the government's taking a look at cash buyers. Mr. John Kolb, why don't you announce who the guests are for this weekend with Harvey Freed, Harry Glantz will be in studio. John, you're going to be on the podcast, and who's coming in studio with us, and who's going to be on the Zoom podcast?
Well, I know Harvey and Harry, you are going to be joined in the studio by Kevin Stewart from the Stewart Team Real Estate Partners out of Rochester. Jessica, his brokering partner, cannot make it. She's got a very busy Saturday with clients and showing homes. So it's just going to be Kevin. He's a wealth of knowledge, a true professional in the industry, always doing the right thing. And that's why we get along so well, because he and his company has the same ideologies as us at our company. So on the Zoom, probably just be me laid up, knee being iced. Who knows? And we'll go from there. Maybe Becky will join us. I think Lisa's out of town. So looking forward to it. It'll be a good show. And keep it trucking.
Excellent. Harvey Freed, final thoughts of the day from you, sir.
Well, it's just a real extreme competitive market if you're looking to buy a house, and we urge you that you get with your lender, preferably Capital Mortgage Funding right here. We answer the phone calls for these tough calls. The listing agents want to know that you've gone through the process, that you truly are approved. How often, Harry, I speak to people that call us up or call our radio show, and again, we have a huge listening audience. How often do they have pre-approval letters where they haven't supplied any documentation? It's still a in our industry, and there's a lot of bad players in any industry. Still, there's some bad players out there on the real estate end and on the mortgage end. So you truly got to deal with the top-notch people, the experienced people, and deal with a brand name like a Capital Mortgage Funding. Don't just these fly-by-night pop-up companies you've never heard of. Please, we urge you to stay away from them and make sure that you get your real estate transaction handled properly.
Excellent, Harvey Freed. We're going to bring that up on the show. We'll bring it up next week in the podcast. I've got one going right now. Got the pre-approval letter in my hand from a name brand company. I'm not buying it. It's all the individual, and you got to go to a name brand, but you got to get with somebody who's been in the business a long time. I've got one that is not worth the paper it's written on. It's really affecting my client on the buy side because they're selling a house that they allegedly the buyers were pre-approved for, but we're not going to get into that. I'm going to sign off by saying thank you to Roberto Beauchene, our producer and director for the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast, as well as the show on 97.1 FM with Harvey Freed and crew. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank our staff here. Our team is, listen, we're all working remote. However, we're getting it done. Please stay safe, stay healthy out there. This thing's not going away anytime soon, but either are we. We'll be here for you. And thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.